I told you that for 2,000 years, a secret library sat hidden in dusty caves? Imagine 230 ancient scrolls in 3 languages that rewrote history overnight. Today, we'll reveal 10 jaw-dropping secrets from the Dead Sea Scrolls that change everything you thought you knew. From a missing Bible verse to a real-life prophecy of epic battles, you'll be hooked. Ready to dive in? Let's unlock these hidden truths now. Stay tuned, because number 7 will blow your mind. Number 1. Earliest copies of the Hebrew Bible. Imagine finding a copy of your favorite book that is 1,000 years older than any other. That's what happened with the Dead Sea Scrolls. These tiny pieces of parchment include parts of almost every book in the Hebrew Bible except Esther. Before this discovery, the oldest full Hebrew Bible we had was from the Middle Ages. Suddenly, we could read versions of these sacred texts as they existed in the 3rd century BCE. That's over 2,000 years ago. Because these scrolls are so old, they show little spelling and wording differences compared to later copies. Most of these differences are small, like writing YHWH one way or another. But a few changes are bigger. For example, one copy of Isaiah leaves out a short sentence that appears in later Bibles. This tells us that ancient scribes sometimes added or removed words over time. By comparing these old and newer versions, scholars can better understand how the Bible changed and where the original texts might really lie. Number 2. Living Library of Unseen Texts. Besides the Bible books, the Dead Sea Scrolls also include over 200 other writings. There are hymns, prayers, rules, and even short plays. Most of these come from a Jewish group living near Qumran. Their writings explain daily life, festival calendars, and rules for meals and ceremonies. Before the scrolls, we knew almost nothing about this community's way of life. These extra texts show us that ancient Judaism was not just one single thing. There were many groups with different beliefs and practices. For example, the War Scroll describes a final battle between good and evil, with trumpets and angel armies. Other texts share wisdom sayings or secret visions. All of this gives us a peek into a side of history that almost vanished. Number 3. Variant readings that shaped modern translations. You might wonder how a few extra words can matter. Well, some scrolls have slightly different verses than the Bibles we read today. In Psalm 145, the Dead Sea copy adds, "and on their children after them." It's just a few words, but it changes the feel of the verse. Did God watch over you only, or over your kids too? That tiny change teaches translators to look closely at all possibilities. When experts translate the Bible, they compare the Dead Sea Scrolls with other ancient texts, like the Septuagint, a Greek version, and the Masoretic text, the later Hebrew text. Sometimes the scrolls help decide which reading is more likely original. Today's study Bibles often note these differences in the footnotes. That way, readers see how a simple scroll fragment can affect our understanding of Scripture. Number 4. Community Rules Revealed. One of the coolest finds is the Community Rule, also known as the Manual of Discipline. This document lays out all the rules of the Qumran community. It explains who can join, how long they must wait, and what to do if someone breaks a rule. New recruits had to wait a full year before being accepted, and they had to share all their belongings with everyone else. This rulebook shows how organized this group was. They had ranks for purity, rituals for cleaning, and times for special prayers. When the Romans attacked around 68 CE, the people fled suddenly and left behind hundreds of scrolls and jars. That accident saved their library for us to discover almost 2,000 years later. Number 5. Early Jewish Messianism and Apocalypse. The scrolls speak a lot about messiahs and the end times. They mention both a priestly messiah and a kingly messiah. One hymn even says angels will gather at his command. These ideas sound a lot like references in early Christian texts. This means that Jewish hopes for a chosen leader were already strong before Jesus appeared. Some scrolls describe a final battle between forces of light and darkness. They paint vivid pictures of angels and armies fighting for God's people. We also find the instructor, a special leader who taught the community. This shows that different Jewish groups expected different kinds of saviors and guides. It helps us see how the idea of Messiah grew and took many forms long before our modern views. Number 6. Language and script diversity. Most scrolls are written in Hebrew, but some are in Aramaic and a few in Greek. This tells us that people in ancient Palestine spoke and read many languages. One Aramaic text explains stories about Levi, the priestly founder. Greek fragments include parts of Tobit and Ben Sira, books later accepted in some Christian Bibles. This mix proves how connected and multilingual the region really was. The writing styles also vary. Some letters look like the Hebrew letters we know today. Others use an older, squarer script. Scholars use these changes in letter shape to date fragments and guess which caves they came from. New digital tools, like multispectral imaging, even reveal hidden letters erased long ago. This lets experts piece together tiny fragments that once seemed lost forever. Number 7. Impact on modern Bible translations. When translation teams meet today, they always check Dead Sea Scroll variants. Versions like the New Revised Standard Version and the Jewish Publication Society Bible show scroll readings in their notes. They might restore an original spelling or include alternate phrases and footnotes. This means the Dead Sea Scrolls have a direct impact on the Bibles you and I read. Beyond words, the scrolls also suggest old ways of dividing chapters into verses. Sometimes they line up with medieval systems. Other times, the scrolls show different section breaks. While most readers won't notice a tiny shift in verse numbers, scholars love having these clues. They make our modern Bibles more accurate and help us understand how people once studied these texts. Number 8. Technological advances in scroll research. Today, we have amazing tools to study the scrolls without touching them. Multispectral imaging captures infrared and ultraviolet light to make faded ink pop like magic. In the 1990s, this technology helped read parts once thought unreadable. Now, high-resolution scans let experts zoom in on each fiber of the parchment. More recently, artificial intelligence has joined the effort. AI models analyze handwriting, ink thickness, and material texture to suggest which fragments might join together. In 2023, researchers used AI to reunite small pieces of Leviticus. While humans still confirm the joins, AI speeds up the process. It is like giving scholars a superpowered magnifying glass. Number 9. New fragments keep appearing. Even after 80 years of study, new scroll bits still show up. In 2021, archaeologists found tiny strips in a nearby cave. Carbon dating tells us they're from the same time as the original Dead Sea Scrolls. These scraps only add a few words, but every new line can change our view of an ancient story. Private collectors sometimes bring pieces to the market too. Experts urge caution because forgeries are common. Authenticity checks include carbon dating, ink analysis, and handwriting comparison. Every time we verify a genuine fragment, it is a small victory for history. It reminds us that the scroll story is still unfolding today. Number 10. Continuing mysteries and global impact. Many scrolls remain unpublished or only partly studied. Some texts are so fragile that experts work slowly to preserve them. Nobody has a final answer on who wrote all the scrolls or exactly why they hid them. Even scholars debate if the Qumran site was a fortress, a farm, or a library. Yet the Dead Sea Scrolls have already changed how we see the Bible and early Judaism. They show that holy books grew through copying and editing over centuries. They remind us that written words are living things, shaped by each scribe's hand. 2,000 years later, these hidden scrolls still spark our curiosity and bring new discoveries. Every fragment reminds us that even the smallest piece of paper can reveal a giant leap in human history.